Hey everybody, my name's Eli with CAPTRON North America, and today we are going to be wiring a Caneo using a discrete input and output. And this would work for any PLC, but in my case, I'm going to be using a back-off controller with input and output modules. And I'm also going to be using a Caneo 10 for this demonstration. You can use any Caneo that you'd want, a Series 4X or a 10, and you need a 5-pin M12. So after we get this thing wired up, I'm going to be showing you how to do a little ladder logic with the back-off controller and get you started.
Okay, so to get started with wiring the Caneo 10 discretely, we have to source our ground and our power. Now on this demo case, I wasn't the one to build this, but they have ground on these little Wago contacts and power is on the right side. So all I'm gonna do is take my wire, open it up, plug in my brown wire for 24 volts DC, and my blue wire for my ground. Of course, your setup is probably going to look wildly different, but same concept. Close that. The connection's fine. And we can just give it a quick test. Make sure that it's getting power. So, I got the button plugged up. And we have power. You can see the button changing. The setting's going to go ahead and cut that off. And now for input and output. So on the M12 5-pin, we have input, which is our black wire. If you were setting up this with IO-Link, you would be wiring this to your IO-Link master. But in our case, we're just going to be using a normally open, I believe it's set up on MPN right now. And for this back-off card, we are going to be using the EL1809. I'm gonna try not to fight with these wires too much, but is this the right one? Yep. Take your little flathead, and we're good. Output. Again, we're just gonna find 2 open slots. I'm gonna use the bottom one. Since this is just a quick little demo, just to show you all how it's done, you can just plug that in. Showing this. Boom. So now that we have it wired, double check and make sure that it's all good to go. So we definitely have power. That's weird. There we go. So everything seems to be working, and we can go on and start programming. So now that we have our button wired up, we can go ahead and program it. And since I'm using a back-off controller with Twin Cat 3, I have this little I/O module, and I know that the EL1809 is going to be my input. And if I look at my controller, it looks like I plugged it in at channel 8. So what's going to happen is we're just going to link a global variable to this input so that we can program with it. So if I go here, Caneo 10, we're just going to call it input. And one thing to note is I am using a demo that we have, and I don't really want to mess with the tags already in here. and I don't want to go through trouble having to reload the demo. So call me lazy. I don't mind. So if we go to here, we can already see that our global variable is listed, and now we are linked. Next thing we need to do is create our output, and that is going to be this module, EL2809. And it looks like I plugged both input pins to 8 and 16. And we'll just call this Caneo 10 output 1. And Caneo 10 output 2. Next thing we need to do is give this a type. Good afternoon, chatty. I need the output type. You know that input is %I star. Q? Oh. So if I do %Q, this is output. Go back to channel 8. Click link to. And I believe I need to just. Oh, I didn't save it. So after some rebooting, we have output 1. Now I have output 2. So I put us in run mode. This will take a second. And this is the moment where you go grab your coffee. Hopefully you don't get too mad at this program. Things will break. Okay, so now that we're loaded, we should actually be able to monitor our input. Check if it's working. Oops. Oh gosh. Caneo 10 inputs. See if I press it. Yep, you can see that I'm pressing the button. And change the one. So we know that that is working, which means we can start programming. So my goal today is to give a little demo of something you could do with these. And we're going to start at the bottom, add a network, and we want to add, and I'm quite new to TwinCat ladder logic, so I'm not very good at it. So we have an input, and something simple we could do is just, if there's an input, if the button is pressed, we can activate a part of this demo, which I am looking for a certain piece of code. And it's this one right here. Oops. Don't do that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to copy this. And I believe I have some broken code in here. It has to do with this right here. So I'm just going to delete this. activate my configuration, and I can show you what it does on the PLC side, or sorry, the button side. So the next thing we can do is use our outputs. We have two outputs on the CANEO 10, and so I will take an input, for example, let's just use a button on this demo. How about, actually, let's use one of our optical sensors. So what we'll do is, depending on which input on the optical sensor gets hit, we'll just change the colors of the CANEO. So just insert your network. Not exactly where I wanted it, but that's fine. And I'll just copy this right here. And then we will we'll do a move. And I'll just move a 1 into GVL dot output 1. And insert another network. Boom. Same thing, except I'm going to make this a 2. And that also needs to be a 2. And we can compile this. See if it worked. I believe we could have just used coil, actually, or set coil. And one thing I forgot to add is that we need to switch the output off. So I just put this closed gate here that writes 0 to the 2 outputs when the input is off. And now we can see what it does when we break the lasers on the optical sensor, and hopefully we should see that the colors on the CANEO will change. So now that we have our button on our demo, if I press start, you can see this timer start to go off and this other button flashing an assortment of colors. So now that we've programmed everything we need and we pass through the optical sensor, and it's a little difficult with one hand, but you can see the colors changing.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe and let me know what else you want to see.